So welcome back to you guys. I'm going to teach you guys this next topic of Buddhist chanting because this is going to help you ease into your meditation and get more benefit out of the meditation itself. But before I teach you all the benefits of chanting, let me first explain to you the history of chanting. I think some of you guys have heard me share this before, that during the lifetime of the Buddha, he used to use chanting to help his students remember his teachings because everything that he taught was oral. He would just speak, and then the students every 2 weeks would come together and they would chant his teachings, and that's how they committed them to their memory. And now they could go out into the world and they could practice his teachings because they had them in their memory, right? So today we don't have to chant in order to remember the teachings. We actually have books and audiobooks, videos, podcasts, things like this. We can study from that and we can remember by committing it to our memory. But during the lifetime of the Buddha, to get to enlightenment, you had to chant. It was, you basically, if you were going to get to enlightenment, that was like your way to remember his teachings, is by reciting them orally. So chanting doesn't have anything mystical or magical about it. It's not a ritual. It's not a rite or ceremony. It's not worship. It's not prayer or anything like that. Some people will teach you that that's what chanting is, but that's not where it started with the Buddha. I'm sure chanting was going on before the Buddha, but he used it as a way to commit the teachings to memory. So there's various benefits with the chanting, and I'm going to teach you 3 different chants. But the benefits of chanting aren't anything mystical or magical. When you learn chanting, it helps you to do what the Buddha described as set up mindfulness in front of you. When you look at the words of the Buddha about how he describes to meditate, you can see his words. I have them over there. I have them in our book series. It shows you exactly how he taught his students to meditate. And he says, set up mindfulness in front of you before you start meditating. You'll learn tomorrow what mindfulness is awareness of mind. So if you just came in and you just plopped down into meditation and started meditating, you're not going to really get much benefit until 5, 10, 15 minutes into your meditation session because you haven't really prepared the mind. So what the Buddha is talking about with setting up mindfulness in front of you is preparing your mind for meditation. Rather than just plop down in front of you, you can do some other things in order to prepare the mind for meditation. So I use chanting because it helps bring awareness to the mind, awareness to the breath. It helps to ease you down into meditation. So that's where I use chanting, is to help you get more benefit out of the meditation. So you're going to get more concentration, more memory, because your mind is kind of like a muscle. If you take your body to the gym each day and you exercise it, it's going to be nice and strong. So when your friend asks you like, hey, can you help me move my sofa? You're like, sure, I can do that for you. Let's go. I can move your sofa, right? Because you've been working out in the gym, right? Well, your mind is the same way. If you work out your mind and you exercise your mind, it'll be strong. It'll be very disciplined. But if you're not exercising your mind, it's not going to be strong and disciplined for you. So doing chanting, it actually exercises your mind because you're going to need to memorize the chants and then actually chant them. It kind of is a way to kind of exercise the mind. You'll get awareness of your breath because as you're doing the chanting, you're going to need to have awareness of the breath to be able to chant in the way that you chant. So it'll help you as you ease into meditation right away at the very beginning. You have awareness of mind and you have awareness of the breath from the very beginning. You'll notice that it slows down, relaxes, and eases the mind into meditation. Because as we were talking earlier, when the mind is unenlightened, it tends to be like go, 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 go. That's what you're used to, right? And you got to slow the mind down. And that's what the chanting will do, is it'll help slow the mind down. So when you get into meditation, your mind will be more relaxed and more steady and more stable. Also, when I was first starting to chant and do meditation, I was having trouble seeing benefit because I didn't really know how to meditate. I didn't have a teacher to be able to help me. So I was just kind of dabbling with things myself, and my mind was very congested, and it was very hard for me to be able to see progress on the path. But when I was chanting each day, I noticed improvement to the chanting. So it was kind of like an audible indication that my practice was improving. I could see like from one day to the next, 1 week from the next, my chanting was improving, and it kind of encouraged me. It gave me motivation and enthusiasm to continue with this practice because I could see through the chanting that my practice was improving. So maybe chanting will help you with that. Also, in order to get to enlightenment, you're going to need to have respect and gratitude for everybody around you. An enlightened being respects everybody and anybody. There's nobody that they don't respect. They have respect for everybody. So when I do the chanting, I have enormous amounts of respect for what I refer to as the elders, the people that pass down these teachings for so many years. We'll never know their names, but from the lifetime of the Buddha all the way until now, these teachings have been passed down from one person to the next to the next. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have the teachings that we have today to be able to help you improve the condition of your mind. So I have an enormous amount of respect for all these unnamed people that we will never know their actual names. And then Gautama Buddha himself, I have an enormous amount of respect for him, because to get to enlightenment by yourself is not easy. You're going to see that getting to enlightenment, even with the teacher's guidance, is quite challenging, but you can do it. There's no reason why you can't do it. But getting to enlightenment by yourself 2,500 years ago, I can't imagine how challenging it was for him, because, like nowadays we have air conditioning, we have comfortable cushions and all this other stuff. I don't suspect he had any of these things. He definitely didn't have air conditioning, right? So he was probably out in the heat, meditating, challenged with so many different things, but yet he persevered. He got to enlightenment, and then he shared his teachings in such a way that today we can actually learn them and experience enlightenment. So I have an enormous amount of respect for this individual who stepped away from being a king, and he stepped into this life of homelessness where he lived off of the generosity of his students, giving him food and clothing and things like this to be able to help him share his teachings into the world. So you might decide to have respect for him too as you start to see the condition of your mind improve, and the chanting can help you with that. It's important to understand that there's nothing mystical or magical about chanting. You'll have some people that will tell you that chanting is going to give you an extra long life. If you chant these special chants for 10 times per day, they're going to give you an extra long life. Or if you chant this special chant, you're going to get rich and wealthy. Or if you chant this special chant, your boyfriend's going to come back or your girlfriend's going to come back to you. This isn't actually true. There isn't anything mystical or magical about the chants. But I teach you guys, don't believe me, but don't believe other people either. If you go to a temple and they tell you, hey, we have this special chant, it's going to give you an extra long life. Okay, well, look around the temple. Do you see people who are 200, 300 years old? If you do, then maybe there's some truth to it. But if you don't see people that are 150, 200, 300 years old around the temple, then you know this isn't true. This is just what people are believing, right? So people will oftentimes believe these kinds of things. If there was some kind of chant that the Buddha created 2,500 years ago that would instantly create wealth for you or instantly bring back your boyfriend and girlfriend for you, don't you think that would have spread all throughout humanity and everybody would know by now, right? Because think about it. If you go to a good restaurant and you have nice tasting food, you probably tell 3, 4, 5, 10 different people about that really good restaurant that you went to, right? So if you can imagine 2,500 years, people chanting a chant, whoa, look at all this money. Whoa, look at my boyfriend and girlfriend came back to me. Oh, let me tell other people about this. It would have spread like wildfire. There isn't anything you can do with chanting that is going to improve your life in terms of bringing back your boyfriend or girlfriend or making you wealthy or giving you a long life. If you would like to have these kinds of things, you're going to need to cultivate wisdom. What leads to a long life is practicing wisdom where you're making wise decisions about the health of your body. What helps you to acquire wealth, if you're interested in that, is making wise decisions to acquire wealth. There's no chant that's going to allow you to be able to do that. So while I'll teach you these chants, and you might hear different people talk about them in different ways, I'm helping you to be able to understand that there isn't anything mystical or magical about these chants. In fact, if you would like to get to enlightenment without chanting at all, you can. Nowadays, you don't have to chant in order to get to enlightenment. But what I encourage you to do is to learn it, to practice it, to see how it goes for you for a couple of weeks. And if you like it, you keep it. But if at the end of that few weeks you decide, I'm not really interested in the chanting, you can set it aside and you'll still be able to get to enlightenment. You're not required to chant in order to get to enlightenment, but you are going to need to do these things. You're going to need to set up mindfulness in front of you before you meditate in order to bring some awareness of the mind to ease into meditation. You're going to need to develop awareness of the mind. You're going to need to develop concentration. You're going to need to develop memory. You're going to need to develop awareness of your breath. You're going to need to kind of slow, relax, and ease the mind into meditation. You're going to need to have respect and gratitude for the people around you, right? So these are all important things to be able to practice, and chanting will help you to accomplish that. But if you have another way of doing that, then wonderful. That's your option. But this is how I used chanting in the past in order to get to where I am today. So do you guys have any questions on the benefits of chanting and how it's used? No? Let me see online if we have any questions. For those of you guys online, if you guys would like to ask questions, you can put that into Facebook, YouTube, or in Zoom, and I'll be able to see that and answer your question. Oh, you have a question? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not quite sure what exactly is a chanting.
The chanting is like when I'm chanting before meditation and after meditation, where it's like, Arahang Samma, this type of thing. This is what we call chanting. Some people call it mantras. People translate it sometimes and they call it prayer, but it's not prayer. Prayer is something completely different. I call it chanting because you're essentially reciting things orally. And it's almost like a song, right? It's almost like a little bit singy-songy, right? Yeah. Okay. So since you guys don't have any questions on this, and I don't see any questions online either, what I'm going to do then is teach you guys 3 chants. And if you guys would like to have the chanting sheet over there in front of you, it's actually really helpful to have that. For those of you guys online, if you guys would like to learn the chanting, you can get this daily chanting sheet that we have here at the temple by going to our website, buddhadailywisdom.com, click on free books, and then go down towards the bottom of our website on that page of free books, and you'll see this daily chanting sheet. I'm going to be displaying this on the screen for you guys, but you'll be able to see this on the daily chanting sheet. And just give me one moment. I forgot to open up Zoom for people who would like to be in Zoom. I apologize for those of you guys that are waiting here in Zoom. I just remembered that I didn't open up Zoom. So hello to people in Zoom. Okay, now I've got Zoom open. I apologize. So for all of you guys in Zoom, we just started our discussion on chanting, and I'm getting ready to now move into teaching chanting. Apologize that I didn't turn on Zoom earlier. It's been off for about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Okay, so this is the first chant that I'm going to teach you guys. This is called the triple gem or the triple jewel. What you're doing in this chant is you're chanting, showing respect to the Buddha, to his teachings in the community. And as I mentioned to you, the benefits of chanting is to ease your mind into meditation. So you're not praying to the Buddha. You're not worshiping him. What this is you're just kind of showing respect within your own mind and in your own life to the Buddha, to the teachings, and to the community. And that's why we call it the triple gem or the triple jewel, because you need these 3 things in order to get to enlightenment. You're going to need to have confidence in the Buddha, which you may or may not have right now, and that's okay, like we were talking about before lunch. So you're going to need to ultimately have confidence in the Buddha. You're going to need to have access to his teachings, and you're going to need to be part of a community. These are the 3 things that an individual needs in order to be able to make their way to enlightenment. If you just had one of these things or 2 of these things, you wouldn't actually be able to get to enlightenment. So if you had confidence in the Buddha, but you didn't have access to his teachings and you weren't part of a community, you wouldn't be able to get to enlightenment. Or if you had access to his teachings, but you didn't have confidence in the Buddha and you weren't part of the community, you wouldn't be able to get to enlightenment. Or if you were just part of a community and you didn't have confidence in the Buddha and you didn't have access to his teachings, you wouldn't be able to get to enlightenment. So you need these 3 things. So whenever you go to a particular event in the Theravada tradition of Buddhist teachings, they will typically start it with this chant because it's important, because of the triple gem, the triple jewel. These are the 3 things you need in order to be able to get to enlightenment. And in this tradition of Buddhist teachings, the Theravada tradition, which you'll find in Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand, southern Vietnam, we all chant in the Pali language. This Theravada Buddhism has been spread all throughout the world, so you can actually go to any temple that's a Theravada temple, and you'll be able to chant right along with them because you're learning the chanting. We all chant in the Pali language. There's a kind of a different dialect or accent from one region of the world to the other. So someone in Sri Lanka will chant slightly different than someone here in Thailand. But when you put these types of people together from Sri Lanka or Thailand, it all blends together, and you can't necessarily hear it unless you have a trained ear to be able to know the difference. So what I'm going to be teaching you is how to chant, and we're essentially chanting in a Thai dialect, the way that we actually chant. So you'll hear other people that will chant these chants in a slightly different way, but that's just because of the different regions and different temples. Different people are teaching it slightly different. But when you get together with all these people, you'll be able to chant in a unified way. So like if you learn the Buddhism from China, for example, you would need to learn how to speak Chinese first, and then you could chant with the people in China. Or if you were in Vietnam, you would need to learn Vietnamese first, and then you could chant in Vietnamese. But this particular tradition of Buddhist teachings, we all chant in the Pali language. So it's a unifying way of everybody chanting together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this chant, each one of them. There's 3 chants, but I'm going to start with this first one, the triple gem. I'm going to do it 4 times. The first time, I'm going to do it by myself, just so you guys can hear it and you can follow along. The second time, I'm going to do it myself, and I'm going to show you where I'm breathing so that you know where I take a breath. Then I'm going to do it a 3rd time, and I'll invite you guys to join me for the 3rd time. And I'm going to be guiding you in the breath as we're going through the chant. And then we'll do it a 4th time where I won't give you any guidance. It'll just be all of us chanting together, and you'll be able to hear it kind of starting to come together as a group. Okay, so here's how I'll teach it to you, is those 4 ways. So here's the first one. This is the way this particular chant sounds. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakava Bhutang Mahakavanhang Apivateyami Savakato Mahakavata Tammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Mahakavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang Namami. Okay, so that's the first time through, just me doing it by myself. If you notice, I was doing a little bow each time in between the phrases. This is a common thing that you will see. Whether you do it or not, it's up to you. It's your practice. I'm not here to tell you what to do or convince you of anything. It's your decision to decide what you would like to do. But what you'll see is when you're in a group of people, when they chant this particular chant, they will typically bow to the floor, because there's usually like ordained practitioners in the front, or there's statues of the Buddha in the front, and people will bow at the end of each one of those, and they'll place their head down on the ground. This is in Thai, we call this a klop, or in English, we might call it a prostration, where you're prostrating to the floor. So for me, I just bring my hands up and I show respect to the Buddha, even though he's not here, he's dead, he's gone, he's never coming back, but I have respect for him. So it's like showing respect to him, to his teachings, and then also to the community, to all of you guys, showing respect to everybody as part of this chant. So whether you choose to do that or not, it's up to you, but just understand that's what I was doing, and you'll see other people doing that too. Okay, so now I'll do it a 2nd time, but I'm going to show you where I'm breathing. And whether you choose to breathe here or not is up to you, but I'm just going to show you where I'm breathing. Okay, so I take a nice deep breath at the beginning in order to fill up my lungs, and then I chant that first part of the phrase. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakava. I take a breath here. Bhutang Mahakavanang Apivateyami. Then as I'm bowing, I'm taking a breath to prepare for the next phrase. Sawakato Mahakavata Tammo. There's a breath here. Damang Namasami. Again, I'm taking a breath as I'm bowing. Supatipano Mahakavato. There's a little breath here. Sawakasanko. Little breath here. Sanghang Namami. And then I'm going to bow and take a nice deep breath leading into the next chant, because there's another chant after this. Okay, so this is the second time through where I'm showing you the breath. But now we can do it a third time where you guys can join in if you like. And I'll guide you in the breath as we go. One of the things that people sometimes that people like to do is they like to kind of hold this thing like this. It's up to you if you do that or not. I just share it with you. Some people put it in their lap. Some people put it on the floor. Some people just follow along with what's up on the screen. It's up to you. But this is an option that you're able to do it that way if you like. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go this third time through, and you guys can join in, and I'll guide you where the breath is. Okay, so I take a nice deep breath here. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakava. Breath. Bhutang Mahakavanang Apivateyami. Nice deep breath here. Sawakato Mahakavata Tammo. Breath. Damang Namasami. Breath. Supatipano Mahakavato. Breath. Sawakasanko. Breath. Sanghang Namami. Then you take a deep breath there as you go into the next one. Okay? So now we'll do it a fourth time where there aren't any guidance. We'll just do it together. Kind of pretend like you're on one of those talent shows, right? Where you're kind of like, I don't know, do they have Spanish Idol? Do they have Spain Idol? Yeah, or like Voice. Do they have that in China? They probably have it in China, right? So pretend like you're auditioning, right? No shyness, no nothing. Just let it go, okay? Just really belt it out, okay? We'll kind of harmonize together. All right, you guys ready? All right, here we go. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakava. Bhutang Mahakavanang Apivateyami. Sawakato Mahakavata Tammo. Damang Namasami. Supatipano Mahakavato. Sawakasanko. Sanghang Namami. All right. Good job, guys. The first one. Yay. Okay. Any questions on this one? Anything you guys would like to ask? Those of you guys in Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, you're welcome to ask questions. You can put that in the comment section, or in Zoom, you can raise your hand if you like. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. All right. So oh, you have a question? Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask who created this chanting first.
Okay, who created the chanting? So we don't know 100% of who created it. I suspect that it was his students, either during his life or after his death, because as you see in the English translations, there's a lot of respect and gratitude and appreciation for the Buddha. And he wouldn't have created that. He wouldn't have gone around and said, here, chant these things out of respect and admiration and gratitude for me. So I suspect his students created this either during his life or after his death, because you can see there's a lot of respect for the Buddha in these chants. But we really don't know 100%. Okay, so this next one, people find it to be a lot easier because it's just the same phrase repeated 3 times. So I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to do 4 times. I'm going to do it once by myself. I'll do it once by myself with guidance and showing you where the breath is. Do it together with you guys, guiding you, and then we'll do it a 4th time with no guidance at all. Okay, so here's how this one sounds. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, so it's just the same phrase repeated 3 times. So here's where the breath is. You've taken that nice deep breath on the way in. So now, Namo Tassa Bhagavato, breath, Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. There's a breath here. Namo Tassa Bhagavato, breath, Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, breath, Namo Tassa Bhagavato, breath, Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, so this is the 2nd time through, just showing you where the breaths are. So now, if you guys would like to join in, I'll guide you and show you where the breath is. Okay, so first we take a nice deep breath at the beginning. Namo Tassa Bhagavato, breath, Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, breath, Namo Tassa Bhagavato, breath, Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, breath, Namo Tassa Bhagavato, breath, Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, so just the same phrase repeated 3 times. Okay, so now we can do it again, and I won't guide you in the breath. This is the Chinese idol or Chinese voice, whatever it is, or Spanish voice, right? So you can just pretend like you're on that show and people are listening, right? Maybe you'll get an offer for singing or something. Okay, all right. So here I won't guide you at all. We'll just do it together. Okay, here we go. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, I'm starting to hear you guys now. That's how I know it's getting better, because I can hear you guys over top of me, right? Okay, very well. You guys have questions on this one? You guys hear us starting to harmonize a little bit? Starting to get more in sync with each other? Yeah, it's really beautiful. Sometimes in Thailand, they'll have temples, like 50, 100, 200 people will get together, and they'll just spend like 5 days, 10 days working on their chanting and getting where it's really beautiful. It sounds really nice. Women tend to be able to chant really nicely. Men can chant nicely too, I think, but I particularly hear women's chanting, and it sounds like they can chant really, really nicely. Oftentimes, that's who's getting together to practice their chanting, and they sound really beautiful. 5-10 days of practice. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next one. This one I found a little bit more challenging, but people sometimes tell me it's so much easier for them to do this one. So everybody's going to have a different experience, right? That's impermanence. So again, we'll do it 4 times, okay? So here's the first time, just so you can hear how it sounds. Iti piso emakawa arahang samma sambuddho vicha charanang sammuno sakhato rokavitu Anutero purisa Dhamma sati satatava manusanang Poto bhagavati. Okay. You guys might be hearing the breaths, because there's kind of like a natural pause. You might be hearing it by now because you're kind of clued into it, but I'll show it to you anyway. Okay. So I take a nice deep breath coming in off that last chant, and I chant Iti piso emakawa. There's a breath here. Arahang samma sambuddho. There's a breath here. Vicha charanang sammuno. There's a breath here. Sakhato rokavitu. Nice deep breath here. Anutero purisa. Breath. Dhamma sati satatava manusanang. Breath here. Poto bhagavati. Okay, so that's where the breaths are. So now if you guys would like to join, I'll guide you in where the breaths are. And again, whether you decide to breathe here or not, totally up to you. But this is where you can have the potential to breathe if you like. Okay, so I take a nice deep breath here at the beginning. Iti piso emakawa. Breath. Arahang samma sambuddho. Breath. Vicha charanang sammuno. Breath. Sakhato rokavitu. Nice deep breath. Anutero purisa. Breath. Dhamma sati satatava manusanang. Breath. Poto bhagavati. Okay, so that's this chant. But now let's do it without any guidance. Okay, give us a chance to do it without guidance. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. Iti piso emakawa arahang samma sammuto vicacaranang sammuno sakatoro kawitu Anuttero purisa Dhamma sati satatawa manusanang Poto Bhagavati. Okay, that's the third one. So when you're chanting with Thai people, this particular chant, they might kind of end it abruptly. Sometimes that's what you'll hear. You'll hear Poto Bhagavati. They just kind of stop it right there. I kind of think it sounds better dragged out, so that's why I drag it out. But how you choose to do it is up to you. But just understand, you'll hear different people chanting in different ways. There's not just one way for everybody to chant, because that would be permanence when we understand the universal truth of impermanence. Any questions on this chant? Okay. You have a question? Yeah, go for it.
Or who all believe in Buddhism, so same song or different chantings?
If they're practicing this tradition of Buddhist teachings and they're chanting, they're going to be chanting in the Pali language. And these are the three most common chants. So they will be chanting these. But they don't all chant exactly the same. Like if you go to Sri Lanka, for example, right here where it says, Arahang Samma Samputo. That's the way we say it in Thailand. In Sri Lanka, they'll say, Arahang Samma Sambuddho. They just say it a little bit different. So everybody chants a little bit different because there's not just one fixed way. You're going to learn tomorrow the universal truth of impermanence, where things are constantly changing in the world. So there's not just one way for everybody to chant. That would be permanence. But we understand that that's not the case.
But is it all based on the same script? It's like there is a national anthem for each country.
It's the same script, but everybody's writing it a different because it's an oral tradition. So the way that I got this into English characters is I listened to it. And then when I listened to it, I used English characters to represent the sounds. So if you go to like a Thai temple, they're going to have a book in Thai language with Thai script, but it's going to produce the same sounds. They're just using Thai script. So if you go to Sri Lanka or any other place, they're going to use their script to represent these sounds. Because the Pali language, the language that the Buddha originally spoke in, which probably wasn't Pali, but he originally spoke in whatever language, it wasn't it didn't have a script. It was just an oral language. So we're using script in order to represent the sounds that have been handed down to us. So that's why there's a bit of a difference from person to person because of impermanence.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah. You have a question? Okay, your mic's not picking up, so I'll just repeat your question. So the question was, is Pali language still a spoken language today, and where are people picking it up? It's no longer a spoken language. There's very few people in the world that know Pali, but they don't use it to communicate. It's solely to essentially study the original words of the Buddha that we have in the Pali canon. And then now people have translated it from Pali over to Thai or English or Vietnamese or whatever language it is. So people study in that language because Pali is no longer a spoken language. So this here is not something that people speak. You don't speak it any longer. That's one of the reasons why people don't agree on the sounds and the words and the translations, because even like English, which is a spoken language, widely spoken by many people, people don't agree on what the words mean, right? You could have a certain word like empathy, and you'll get different definitions from every person of what that word means. right? Because of impermanence, not everyone agrees on what that word means. We have dictionaries, but we even have many different dictionaries, and different dictionaries will describe it differently. So this is the problem with such an old historic language, is that there's very few people who know it, very few people who speak it, and they don't agree on what the words mean from one person to the next. And that's why you're not interested in believing any of these teachings. That's why you learn it, investigate, examine it, you reflect on it to verify it, and then you practice it to be able to see the truth for yourself. Mm-hmm. Having some issues with the mic.
Can I ask, is Pali language once spoken in where it is India right now?
Yeah, so it was originally in that region of the world where the Buddha was. We thought for a long time that the Buddha spoke Pali. That's what we thought, because everything we had was in the Pali language. But about 10 years ago or so, they found some remnants of documents that were in a different language that predates Pali, that was before Pali. So people think now that the Buddha spoke a language that was different than Pali, but it was similar. Apparently, this language that he did speak, if you knew Pali and you knew this language, about 90% of it is the same. So you could kind of figure it out. But the Buddha actually didn't speak Pali himself during his lifetime. So it was spoken in that region of the world where the Buddha is from, which is Northeast India, Nepal, that whole region of the world. You can talk to like Pali scholars and anthropologists. Those are the types of people that understand those kinds of things, like how this language spoke, or what area this language was spoken, and kind of how it slowly degraded over time, and all these different things. And I'm sure the internet has some details about it too. You're welcome. Okay, so here's what I suggest we do, if you guys are up for it. As I said, we do all 3 chants, no guidance, no nothing. Just go all the way through. What do you think? You guys up for it? You game? Yeah? Your game mean like, are you good? Would you like to do that? Yeah? Okay. All right. Here we go. You guys learn a little bit of American slang. All right, here we go. Starting from the top. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakava Bhutang Mahakavanang Apivateyami Savakato Mahakavata Tammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Mahakavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti piso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vicacaranang Sammuno Sakato Rokavito Anutero Puri สานามาสติสตาตาวามนุสนังโหโตภาควาติ Okay, good job, guys. All right, our first time through as a class. Excellent. So each day you guys can get better and better at this, right? Because we're going to be chanting on the way into meditation and on the way out. So we're going to be chanting and doing meditation in the morning and in the afternoon. So this will give you guys a chance to practice it over the next 5 days. And by the end of the week, you'll probably have this down pretty well, I'd imagine. Okay, do you guys have any questions at all about the chanting, where it comes from, how to do it, or anything like that? No? Okay, so here's what I'd like to invite you to do. If you'd like, we can do chanting, and then we go into meditation, and I will guide you in a meditation session. And then after the meditation session, then we come out of the meditation with the chanting. Give you guys a chance to put it all together. Would you guys like to do this? Yeah? You need a bathroom break? Yeah. Why don't we take a little few minute bathroom break, give you guys a chance to stretch your legs, use the restroom, and then we'll do some meditation in about 5 minutes. So for all of you guys online, we're going to just take a little pause here, take a little bathroom break, and then we're going to be back with some meditation. Okay, so we're going to do the chanting on the way in. I'll do the guidance like I normally do. Then there'll be a period of time where it's just quiet and we're meditating together. Then we'll come out with some more chanting. Okay? All right. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakeva พุตังมหาควันหังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตมหาควตาธัมโมธัมมังนามัสสา สุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารณังสัมมุโนสกขาโตโรกาวิตุอนุเตโรปุริสาดามาสติสัตตาตาวามนุสนังปุตโตภะคะวะติ Okay, with the lower body and hands and arms comfortable, and the upper body erect, just close the eyes and start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Here you're just looking to establish the breath, a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. Not forced or controlled, just a gradual inhale through the nose, experiencing the full breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Your breath may not match up with the guidance that I'm providing, and that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here for guidance. You can use this voice as a reminder that whenever you get to the next inhale, breathing gradually through the nose, developing a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose, experiencing the full breath. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the breath well established, start fixating the mind on the breath, either the sound of the breath coming into the nose or the sensation of air moving over the skin into the nose. The breath is the present moment. Fixate the mind on the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the mind focused on the breath, whenever you notice that it moves off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. No need to observe the thought, label it, judge it, analyze it, or even try to figure out where it's coming from. Whenever you notice that the mind is moved off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I'm going to be quiet now and let you do this work of focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. You have nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. No one needs you right now. This is your time to focus on the breath. Breathing in and out. อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธมหาเกวาพุทธังมหาเกวันนังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตมหาเกวัตตาธัมโมธัมมังนามัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนมหาเกวัตโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินับโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนับโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนับโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสมะเกวาอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารณังสัมมุโนสกขาโตโรกาวิตุอนุเตโรปุริสาธัมมาสติสัตตาตาวามนุสนังโอโตภาควาติ Okay, you guys would like to make your way out of meditation. All right, you guys did it. Chanting and meditation. Any questions? Yeah? Just press the button. You should see the lights come on. Just wait like a second. There you go. Now you
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't help but get really sleepy.
Yeah.
Then I have to remember breath, take the breath and focus on the breath. Then I woke up a little bit, but I feel myself like moving around my body because I get sleepy.
Yeah, you're going to hear me tomorrow. We're going to talk about meditation in the afternoon because you get a chance to practice meditation a few times. And then tomorrow during the day, I'm going to teach you in the morning the Eightfold Path. Then after lunch, I'm going to teach you all about meditation, the ins and outs of it. And we're going to talk about sleepiness and what you do. But this is normal. People experience this sometimes. So I'll teach you how to deal with it tomorrow afternoon. Any other questions? No? Let me see if we have anything online. Okay. All right, I don't see any questions online. So what I'll do then is just end by thanking all of you guys for coming. Thank you for being interested to learn the teachings of the Buddha. As I mentioned, tomorrow we're going to do the Eightfold Path, a whole morning. We're going to have a mid-morning break, of course, but we're going to really take our time and walk through that because that's the path to enlightenment. I'm going to teach you using the original words of the Buddha. We'll take our lunch break, then we're going to come back and I'll teach you meditation, all the ins and outs, because by that point, you'll have done meditation 3 times with me, at least 3 times in this course. So then you'll get a chance to actually talk about it and you'll understand how it fits into the Eightfold Path, because I'm going to explain to you the why and what you're looking to accomplish during your meditation. Right now, we're just doing it, but later you're going to understand all the ins and outs of it and what it's doing for your mind. So whatever you decide to do today, have a wonderful, lovely rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Okay? Sawadee Krap.